Day 46 of my 30-day van conversion challenge. This morning I'm tackling the overhead cupboards again. I was having an issue yesterday that the hinges weren't closing properly because they weren't at 90 degrees. I came up with the idea to put some tiny washers at the front of them to hopefully fix the angle. It barely made any difference, and when I had a look at how far off the angle was, I decided to put something bigger underneath. I screwed a pan head screw roughly in the middle of it so that the front part wouldn't be able to be tight against the wood. And this time when I closed it, it was pretty much closed. I still needed to tighten it all and do it properly, but for now I was happy with this. Next I started work on the overhead doors. My plan is to cut semicircles out of them and then cover them in rattan, so I started by penciling this out by hand, and then I started adding some measurements to make sure that it was all straight. I cut the straight part out with the plunge saw and then started with the jigsaw. I cut out half the semicircle first and then used the half that I'd cut out to transfer to the other side to make sure that it matched on both sides. Then I sanded it all down and used the first piece to stencil out the second door. I repeated the process for the second and third doors and realised at some point that I'd managed to cut upside down on the door that I'd already added hinges to. Then I very sadly found myself back doing a bit more on the electrics. I had all of these wires hidden behind this wall and they were a bit of a mess, so I wanted to sort them out and get them wrapped in conduit. Because the size of my chair had changed slightly, I also needed to reroute my diesel heater cable. I also discovered a few days ago that my inverter is supposed to be grounded to the vehicle. It didn't come with any cable and I didn't have the correct cable or lugs left to do it, so I needed to go to the shop to pick up a lug. I procrastinated this job all afternoon because I'm so fed up of doing the electrics, and now that everything's been installed, it's all a bit more difficult and faffy to do. It might have taken all afternoon, but I got it done in the end, and then I started looking at installing my inverter switch. I wanted this to be as hidden but accessible as possible, and I really wished I'd put it up with the USB panels when I'd had the chance, but I think it's too late now. I almost decided to put it here but portrait and started penciling around it, but thankfully before I drilled any holes, realised that there wasn't enough space because of the bed beam. I also debated where to install my mountable extension cable. I wasn't really happy with any of these options because I just think it's ugly and I want it to be out of the way, but there's not really any space to put it. That was the end of day 46, so I'll be back tomorrow with day 47.